Hey friends, welcome to practice. Today's class is going to feel really good. You will need a giant ball, whatever you want to call it, Swiss ball, birth ball, yoga ball, exercise ball, whatever. We're gonna do a bunch of just really gentle, feel-good rocking movements and some birth prep positions. So you can do this whenever you want a gentle, feel-good class, but I really recommend it weeks 35 to 42 of pregnancy. So that very last push to get us relaxed and prep for labor and delivery. So grab your stuff and we'll get started. And we will begin by sitting on the ball. So we'll do a bunch of different positions today. And if any of them feel especially good and you want to stay and linger longer, please do. Or if any don't work for you, then just go ahead and skip them. But we're going to start just by rocking our hips from side to side, left and right. Of course, if you need something to hold on to for balance, please come next to a counter or a wall. And also, if you bring your feet out wider, that'll help with your balance as well. And all the while, we're just having a nice, soft, relaxed breath. If you want to close your eyes and picture that breath making its way down to your pelvic floor, that is a great option as well. Expanding through the rib cage and the belly as it gets down there, and then gently releasing it out. Go ahead and take some pelvic tilts forward and backward. So we're flipping our tailbone back and then curling our pubic bone up towards our chest. It's kind of like a cat-cow pelvic motion here. And if you don't feel like we stay long enough in any of these positions, come back and revisit. Jot down the ones that feel really good for you. And then just focus on those next time. Good, now we're gonna take big circles in a clockwise direction. Big circles through the hips. Again, I really encourage you to close your eyes for this class as much as you can or as much as you want to. Really just picture what's happening down in the pelvis. It's always an envisioning of an opening up or a softening. Making room, making space. Good, switch the direction of your circles. And just remind yourself that this is what your body was really designed to do. I know it's kind of a crazy concept, but all these structures, these ligaments, these bones are meant to open up and make space for baby. And baby knows how to position itself in order to come out as well. So just taking a moment to have that sense of wonder about this whole process, but also some trust and faith in it as well. Good, go ahead and open your eyes if you did close them. We're gonna take a seated pigeon. This is where we'll come onto one foot, so if you do want something for balance, grab it. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Nice outer hip stretch, and then you can stay still or you can always rock. I'm a big fan of rocking. Maybe experiment with a side-to-side shift as well. Just a couple more breaths here. Really let any tension in your right outer hip go. And then we'll switch it out. Plant your right foot down, cross your left foot over your right knee. Readjust as you need. Use anything for balance as you need, and then take your pigeon stretch however you want. Could do those little circles here as well. Hang out in your pigeon for just a couple more breaths. And then uncross your left leg. We are going to come into this funky, really nice side body and chest opener. If it feels too sketchy for you for your balance, go ahead and skip it, but it helps me get such a good breath into my body. So we're gonna roll so that the ball is on our back and we're walking our feet forward. Now from here, you're gonna lay onto your right side on the ball. Okay, and we're draping our body like a nice rainbow shape over the ball, but also peel your shoulder open towards the sky. And take some big breaths into the rib cage. The thoracic spine can get really stiff with pregnancy. We really wanna open it up. So go ahead and wiggle side to side or front and back, see what works for you, but really trying to open through the side body and the thoracic, the mid-back area. I like to hold on to my opposite elbows overhead and then just breathe deeply. And you can experiment more with opening heart to the sky or then turning to the right to make it more of a side bend. Two more cycles of breath. It's definitely a funky one to get into, but I think it feels so good. And then we're gonna roll onto the other side. So just let that ball travel underneath the back and then over to the left side of the body. If you need to reposition onto your mat, you can. So first find that nice rainbow arch shape side bend. Find that sturdiness through your feet. And then if you want to turn your heart up to the sky or wiggle it around a little bit, that's an option too. Breathe into the upper part of the back in the right lung. It also feels nice because the ball can be a little bit of like a massage for the low back. If you do take those motions. 3 more full breaths. Good. Gently rock off the ball entirely. And then we're gonna come into a child's pose variation. So tuck your toes at the back of the mat. Bring your hips back onto your heels, your knees as wide as you want, and then lay your body down. So we're bringing the ball close to our body, giving it a nice big hug. And rock side to side. We're just resting one cheek on the ball, and I'll tell you when to switch sides. Another nice movement to do is to transition from a tabletop. So we're still hugging the ball, but this time our hips are stacked over our knees instead of all the way back. So you can shift forward and then roll back to your child's pose. Shift forward to tabletop and then lean back to child's. You can start to envision how some of these positions will feel really good during the laboring process. And another little helpful tidbit is knees wide is great, but also if you ever want to bring your knees to the center and your feet out, this can open up the pelvis even more. Finding that internal rotation of the hips can give more room for your sacrum to move. Good, and we'll switch whichever ear is on the ball. Maybe start with those rocked side to side and then shift forward and back to tabletop. Breath is making its way into the back body and down into the pelvic floor, softening there. Good. Take a couple more rocks. And then we will move into a puppy pose. So instead of hugging the ball close to our body, roll it out in front of you, place your palms on it, and then let your chest and your belly drop. From here, I like to do a hammock shape, so really letting my body just sway side to side like it's floating in the breeze. Let your belly soften and then feel that nice stretch on the lats, the outsides of your armpits. And if this feels too unsupported for you to have your belly and your torso kind of out and about, just take the child's pose. Think about separating your sit bones back behind you and breathing down the length of the spine. Good. Gently roll the ball back underneath your body and come into a wide-legged stance, standing up either at the back of your mat or you could face the long edge of the mat. And from here, rest your elbows down onto the birth ball. And we're in a prasarita shape. Rest your forehead onto your hands or onto the ball. And breathe. We can stay still, or obviously if you want to rock side to side, you would bend and straighten just a little bit into each leg one at a time, so it comes into this skater lunge type of movement. All of this is very intuitive movement, and everyone is very different, so just feel into what your body wants today. And in this shape, let your shoulders soften, let your sides of your necks release and relax tension. Good. If you made your way to the side of the mat, go ahead and make your way back to the back of the mat. We're going to drop our left knee down. roll the ball out in front of us, and then step our right leg to the outside of the ball. So we're in this low lunge shape. You can rest your forearms and your elbows down. We're gonna rock from a low lunge, a nice wide stance, back to kind of a half split. So we're not worrying about straightening into the leg too much, but just this little flossing of the hip, so bending and straightening a little bit into the right knee. Low lunge to half splits. Just with this nice ball support underneath us, or you could lay your chest down. Sometimes opening up into one side of the hip and pelvis as opposed to the other can make a big difference during the birthing process. Because we can hold some asymmetries in our body, which is natural. Couple more times flossing out that right hip. And then switch it out. Right knee plants. Left foot steps to the outside, nice and wide. And then rest on the hands, elbows, forehead, whatever you want. As you bend your left knee, you're sinking your right hip down. And then as you straighten it a little bit, we're rocking our hips back. So stretching into the inner groin, the hip flexors, the hamstrings. Let's do 2 more. Good. Step your left knee back to meet your right, and we're gonna do another side body opener, a little modified side plank. So right knee is in the center, kickstand your right foot out, extend your left leg long, and lay your body over, your right side of your body over the ball. Modified side plank. If you don't want the ball entirely, you could just get rid of it, but or you can practice with extending it out long to the front of the mat and really stretching left fingertips to meet it. Breathe into the whole length of the left side of the body. Close your eyes, let something go. Also, it's a good option to have that ball really close into the body and just rest your elbow down and stretch left fingertips up and over. Wherever you are at today is great. 5 more cycles of breath. Just as another additional option, kind of like the shape we did at the beginning, you could really rest your whole right waist on the ball and press through your left foot and then stretch left arm forward. So 3 options. I'm gonna go a few breaths in each one. Option to give yourself a little low back massage with your left thumb. Let it feel good wherever you are. All right, and then we'll switch it out. I'll give plenty of time, so if you want to experiment with the 3 different shapes, that's what I'll be walking through. If you want to just stick in one of them, that's great too. Left knee is planted, left foot kicks out to the side, right leg extends long, and then let's roll that ball all the way to the top of the mat. Have support under the forearm, and then stretch right fingertips up and over. Now if you're wanting a little more support, go ahead and roll that ball closer to your body so it hugs your hips. your left hip, and then rest left elbow down, stretch right arm forward. Drop your left ear to your left shoulder to stretch the right side of your neck as well. And then lastly, if you want, you can rest your left crook of your waist onto the ball. So this time our knee isn't grounded. We're just pressing through our right foot and our left hand is on the mat at the top. And then we reach right arm forward. Good, gently release wherever you are. We're gonna do a little turn. Take your time, but have the ball behind you. And we're gonna take a supported malasana. So really bring that ball in as close to your low back as you can. Walk your feet onto the mat and your knees out, woo, out wide. Don't slip out like I did. All right, so balls behind our backs. Maybe if you wanted to have a wall behind you, that would be a good idea. All right, now that you got your spot, you can relax into it. So knees out wide, ball is supported behind you, and then send that inhale down to your pelvic floor. Close your eyes. Soften your jaw. The jaw and the pelvic floor can be kind of related in their tension, so try to release one to release the other. Always, always, if you want, start taking a little sway side to side. You could stretch your arms back behind you to open the chest more and recline back a little further. Good. You can stay in your malasana. If you want, push through your feet to roll your low back onto the ball. So we're laying our back body on the ball, and then from here, little low back massage, rolling left waist and right waist, left low back, right low back. Just roll it out, let it feel good. If you're taking that massage, just a couple more rounds. And then we're all gonna meet in a seat. Take the ball out from behind you. If you wanna mosey up onto a wall to have the ball supported on a wall, that's a good idea. And we're gonna take a legs up the ball shape. So scoot your hips as close as you can to the ball. We're gonna lay onto our backs, which for this period of time is totally fine. If you're more comfortable, you could recline and prop your back up onto something at an angle. And then lay down. You could take your side lying position first and then lay down depending on how your core feels. And then let those legs up on the ball. Place your hands on your belly and breathe softly and fully. And then finally, let's find a supported happy baby. So now we're gonna have our legs supported on the ball still, but bring our knees out wide. And then you can place your hands on your knees or shins. Feet are on the ball, which could be propped against the wall to keep you a little bit more in a still position. And then inhales, make the way all the way down to the pelvic floor. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Take a few more breaths wherever you are. If you want to start to gently roll onto a side to sit up. That is the end of our practice together. I hope that gives you some ideas of really comforting, feel good, yummy movements on this ball. Please revisit whichever ones felt great for you or experiment with the ones that felt a little bit funky. Thank you for being here and best of luck with everything.